Imagine standing at the edge of a vast, dark forest. The path ahead is unclear, shrouded in mist, and each step forward fills you with both curiosity and hesitation. You are searching for something important, something vital, but you cannot quite put it into words. All you know is that something feels off. A deep, unshakable sense of emptiness lingers within you, like an invisible weight pressing on your soul. Perhaps you have felt this before, a vague but persistent feeling that you are disconnected, lost in the very life you are living. You go through the motions, following the path set before you, but something inside whispers, "This is not it. Something is missing." Carl Jung, one of the most influential minds in psychology, understood this feeling better than most. He spent his life exploring the hidden depths of the human psyche, uncovering the forces that shape who we are and why we feel the way we do. According to Jung, this inner void is not a flaw. It is not a sign that you are broken or that something is wrong with you. Instead, it is an invitation, an urgent call to embark on the most important journey of all, the journey toward the true self. In this exploration, we will uncover the real meaning behind the inner void. We will discuss why so many of us feel lost and disconnected from ourselves, and how Jung's revolutionary insights provide the key to understanding and overcoming this existential emptiness. And the last revelation, the most powerful of them all, may change the way you see yourself and the world forever. Now take a moment to reflect. How much of your life has been shaped by others? Your beliefs, your goals, even your sense of identity. How much of it is truly yours? How often do you question whether the person you present to the world is your authentic self or just a role you have learned to play? Jung believed that one of the primary sources of this internal void is the disconnection between who we truly are and who we think we are supposed to be. Society, culture, family expectations, all of these shape us from an early age, conditioning us to fit into predefined roles. We learn what is acceptable and what is not. We are praised for certain behaviors and discouraged from others. Over time, we construct an identity based not on our true essence but on external validation. Jung called this outward-facing identity the persona. It is the mask we wear in public, the version of ourselves carefully crafted to gain approval and avoid rejection. But here is the problem. The more we invest in this mask, the further we drift from our authentic self. And when the gap between the mask and the true self grows too wide, we feel it, an emptiness, a restlessness, a sense that something essential has been lost. But what exactly have we lost? The answer lies in what Jung called the shadow self. Our shadow is the collection of everything we have rejected, suppressed, or denied about ourselves. The emotions we were told were unacceptable, the desires we buried out of fear or shame, the aspects of our personality that did not fit the mold we were given. But here is the crucial part. These hidden aspects of ourselves do not disappear. They linger beneath the surface, shaping our thoughts, our behaviors, and our choices in ways we do not even realize. The greater the disconnect between our conscious self and our shadow, the stronger the feeling of emptiness. We try to fill this void with distractions, work, relationships, achievements, entertainment, but nothing seems to truly satisfy us. No matter how much we achieve, how much we acquire, or how much we keep ourselves busy, the void remains. But what if the void is not a curse? What if it is not something to escape, but something to embrace? Jung believed that this emptiness is actually a gateway, a signal that it is time to turn inward, to face what we have been avoiding, and to integrate the lost parts of ourselves. He called this process individuation, the path to becoming whole. And here is where the journey truly begins. Because true self-discovery is not about creating a new identity or reinventing yourself. It is about uncovering what has always been there, hidden beneath layers of conditioning and fear. So how do we begin this process? The first step is awareness, learning to see beyond the mask. Ask yourself, what parts of yourself have you suppressed to fit in? What emotions have you denied because they made you uncomfortable? What desires have you buried because they seemed too unconventional, too risky, too unacceptable? Jung once said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." This means looking into the places we have been afraid to explore, not with judgment, but with curiosity. The parts of us that we have labeled as weaknesses, flaws, or even sins, What if they hold the key to understanding ourselves more deeply? Facing the shadow is not easy. It requires courage. It requires a willingness to question everything we thought we knew about ourselves. But it is only by integrating these hidden aspects that we can begin to fill the void, not with external distractions, but with our own truth. And here is something even more profound. The void is not empty. It is full of untapped potential. What if the emptiness you feel is not a lack but an opening, a space waiting to be filled, not with illusions, but with the essence of who you truly are? In the next part, we will explore the incredible power of the unconscious mind and why the key to transformation lies not in escaping the void, but in embracing it fully. Think about a dream you once had, one that felt so vivid, so real, that for a moment you were convinced it was the truth. And then you woke up. The images dissolved, the sensations faded, and reality set in. But what if I told you that much of what we believe to be real, our identity, our desires, even our fears, is just another dream? A dream shaped not by our true selves, but by the unconscious forces that have been influencing us from the shadows. Carl Jung believed that to truly find ourselves, we must first understand the hidden forces that shape our thoughts, emotions, and decisions. He argued that the unconscious mind is not just a storage place for forgotten memories. It is a living, breathing force that shapes our reality in ways we barely understand. And until we become aware of it, we are not truly in control of our own lives. So what exactly is the unconscious, and how does it create the feeling of being lost? Imagine an iceberg floating in the ocean. The part above the water, the part we can see, represents our conscious mind. It is the part of us that thinks logically, makes decisions, and interacts with the world. But beneath the surface, hidden from view, lies a massive structure. This is the unconscious, the vast and powerful realm where our deepest fears, unprocessed emotions, forgotten memories, and suppressed desires reside. Jung divided the unconscious into two parts: the personal unconscious and the collective unconscious. The personal unconscious is unique to each of us. It is shaped by our personal experiences, memories we have buried, emotions we have ignored, and traumas we have not fully processed. Every time we suppress a painful truth, every time we deny a part of ourselves, it does not disappear. It sinks into the depths of the personal unconscious, where it continues to influence us in subtle and often destructive ways. Then there is the collective unconscious, a concept that sets Jung apart from many other psychologists. He proposed that beyond our individual experiences, there exists a deeper, shared level of consciousness. It is made up of universal symbols and patterns inherited from the generations that came before us. These symbols, what Jung called archetypes, shape our instincts, our beliefs, and even our sense of identity. Archetypes appear in myths, religions, and stories across all cultures, showing up in different forms, but carrying the same fundamental meaning: the wise old man, the hero on a journey, the mother figure, the trickster, the shadow. These are not just characters in stories, they are parts of us. They live within our unconscious, influencing the way we see the world and ourselves. And this is where things get truly fascinating, because when we feel lost, when we feel disconnected from who we are, it is often because we are trapped in an unconscious narrative that is not our own. Think about the expectations placed upon you since childhood, the messages you received about what it means to be successful, to be worthy, to be a good person. These messages did not come from nowhere. They were passed down, shaped by culture, family, and the collective unconscious. You were handed a script, a role to play in a story that was already written before you even had a say in it. But what if that story does not fit? What if the role you have been playing is not the one you were meant for? This is why so many people feel an existential void. They are trying to live according to a script that does not align with their true nature. They chase achievements, relationships, material success, believing that these things will bring fulfillment, only to find that something still feels incomplete, because deep down their soul knows the truth. They are living someone else's dream. Jung believed that the key to escaping this cycle is to wake up, to become conscious of the unconscious forces shaping our lives. He called this process individuation, the journey of integrating the hidden parts of ourselves, breaking free from inherited narratives and stepping into our authentic identity. And here is the difficult truth: individuation requires confrontation. It means facing the parts of ourselves we have been avoiding, the wounds we have not healed, the desires we have denied, the fears we have suppressed. Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Think about that for a moment. How many of your struggles, your repeated patterns, your deepest frustrations, how many of them feel like fate? Like things that just happen to you no matter what you do? What if they are not fate at all, but the unconscious playing out unresolved conflicts beneath the surface? This is why the feeling of being lost is not just about lacking direction. It is about being out of alignment with your true self, the self that exists beyond the roles, beyond the conditioning, beyond the unconscious programming, the self that has been buried, waiting to be rediscovered. But how do we begin? How do we start peeling back the layers and reconnecting with what has been lost? The first step is to observe, to step back and question the beliefs you have accepted without realizing it, to ask yourself, what parts of me feel inauthentic? What do I do because I genuinely want to, and what do I do because I feel I should? What emotions do I avoid? What truths about myself do I resist? The answers may not come immediately. The unconscious does not reveal itself all at once. It speaks in symbols, dreams, and patterns. But if you begin to pay attention, if you start questioning instead of just accepting, you will start to see the hidden forces at play. And here is something even more profound. The unconscious is not just a source of hidden fears and suppressed wounds. It is also a source of deep wisdom. It holds the key to your creativity, your intuition, your true potential. This is why the void is not just an absence. It is an opportunity. If you feel lost, if you feel disconnected, it may not mean you are on the wrong path. It may mean you are standing at the threshold of transformation. But transformation does not happen by chance. It requires a conscious decision, a willingness to face the unknown. In the next part, we will explore how confronting the shadow self can lead to the most profound breakthroughs, and why what you fear the most may hold the key to your liberation. Imagine walking through a dimly lit corridor lined with mirrors, but instead of reflecting back a familiar image, each mirror reveals something different, fragments of yourself that you have long forgotten or chosen to ignore. Some of these reflections are unsettling, showing emotions you have suppressed, desires you have denied, or fears you have buried. Others are surprisingly powerful, revealing strengths and potentials you never fully embraced. This corridor is your unconscious mind, and at the end of it, waiting in the shadows, is something even deeper, the part of yourself that you fear the most. Carl Jung called this the shadow self. It is the collection of all the parts of you that have been repressed, hidden away because they were deemed unacceptable, by society, by family, by your own self-imposed limitations. It is made up of the thoughts you do not want to acknowledge, the impulses you wish you did not have, the aspects of your nature that you have tried to silence. But here is the paradox. The more we suppress the shadow, the stronger its influence becomes. The more we deny it, the more it controls us from beneath the surface. And if we refuse to face it consciously, it manifests in ways we do not understand: self-sabotage, destructive patterns, unexplained fears, and the deep sense of being lost. Jung believed that real self-discovery requires not just embracing the light, but also confronting the darkness within. Because the shadow is not just a container for our worst traits. It is also the keeper of immense potential. Within it lies hidden creativity, untapped energy, and the raw power necessary for transformation. So how do we confront the shadow? First, we must understand how it appears in our lives. The shadow does not introduce itself openly. It reveals itself through projection. When we see in others the very qualities we refuse to acknowledge in ourselves. Think about the people who trigger you the most, the ones who frustrate you, anger you, or make you uncomfortable. Ask yourself, what is it about them that bothers me so much? Often the answer lies not in them, but in you. The traits we judge most harshly in others are often reflections of parts of ourselves that we have not fully accepted. The arrogance we despise in someone else may be a reflection of our own suppressed confidence. The selfishness we condemn may highlight the ways we have ignored our own needs. The behaviors we find intolerable in others may be aspects of ourselves that we have pushed so far into the unconscious that we no longer recognize them as our own. This is the first step, noticing the patterns of projection, seeing where the shadow is at work in our daily interactions. It is not easy. Our ego resists it. It does not want to admit that what we judge in others is often what we have not faced in ourselves. But awareness is the beginning of transformation. Once we recognize the shadow, the next step is to integrate it. This does not mean acting out every suppressed desire or giving in to every impulse. It means acknowledging these hidden aspects with honesty and without shame. Jung called this process shadow work. It is the conscious effort to bring the unconscious into the light, to examine our suppressed emotions, to question the stories we have told ourselves, and to reclaim the lost parts of who we are. Shadow work requires deep reflection. It requires us to sit with uncomfortable truths, to explore the wounds we have been avoiding. And it demands something even more challenging: self-compassion. Because as we uncover our shadow, we must resist the urge to judge ourselves harshly. Ask yourself, what emotions do I avoid expressing? What fears or desires have I suppressed? Where do I see patterns repeating in my life? What aspects of myself do I deny or hide from others? One of the most profound realizations that comes from shadow work is this: the qualities we suppress are not inherently bad. The anger, the ambition, the sensuality, the assertiveness, these are not negative traits. They only become harmful when they are repressed and left to operate unconsciously. But when we integrate them, when we channel them consciously, they become sources of strength. Consider the concept of the golden shadow. Just as we suppress aspects of ourselves that we find unacceptable, we also suppress our greatness, our untapped talents, our deepest passions, our potential for true fulfillment. Many people do not fear failure as much as they fear their own power. They fear what would happen if they fully embraced their abilities, their voice, their purpose. So many of us live beneath our potential because we have absorbed limiting beliefs. We have internalized the voices that told us we were not good enough, not smart enough, not worthy enough. And over time, we accepted these narratives as truth. But what if they were never true to begin with? What if the life you have been living is only a fraction of what you are capable of? This is where the greatest shift happens. When we stop seeing the shadow as something to fear and start seeing it as a guide. When we recognize that within our darkness lies the key to our light. Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And to do that, we must stop running from ourselves. We must turn toward the shadow and embrace it, not as an enemy, but as a forgotten part of our wholeness." The moment we stop fearing the unknown within us is the moment we unlock the deepest truths about ourselves. Because what we have been searching for, what we have been longing for, is not outside of us. It is within, waiting to be remembered. In the next part, we will uncover the final and most powerful revelation, the one that has the potential to change not just how you see yourself, but how you navigate the world. There comes a moment in every journey of self-discovery when we realize that we are no longer the person we once believed ourselves to be. The old stories no longer fit. The old fears no longer hold the same power. The old identities begin to fade, making way for something new, something truer. But this transition is not without struggle, because before we can fully step into our authentic selves, we must face the greatest challenge of all, letting go of who we thought we were. Carl Jung believed that the process of individuation, the path to true self-realization, is not simply about learning who we are. It is also about unlearning. Unlearning the false identities we have worn to please others. Unlearning the conditioned responses that have shaped our decisions. Unlearning the limiting beliefs that have kept us small, afraid, and disconnected from our own potential. And here is the truth most people avoid. Transformation requires loss. It requires shedding the old self, the comfortable illusions, the attachments to who we used to be. And this is why so many resist it. Because change, even when it is necessary, feels like a kind of death. The ego clings to the familiar, even when the familiar is painful. It fears what lies beyond. It whispers that stepping into the unknown is dangerous, that it is safer to stay in the roles we have always played, to remain in the cycles we have always known. But what if staying the same is the real danger? What if the cost of holding on to the old self is the loss of the life you were meant to live? Jung said, "The greatest burden a child must bear is the unlived life of its parents." But this does not only apply to our parents, it applies to every inherited belief, every expectation we have unconsciously carried, every outdated identity that no longer serves us. So the question becomes, Are you willing to release the past in order to step into your future? Many people mistake self-discovery for a process of addition, as if becoming whole means gathering more knowledge, more experiences, more external achievements. But true transformation is not about adding more. It is about removing what is not you. It is about stripping away the false layers, the conditioning, the masks. It is about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. And here is the most powerful realization of all. The void you fear is not emptiness. It is space. Space for the real you to emerge. Think about it. Why do people fear feeling lost? Because they associate it with lack, with uncertainty, with the absence of identity. But what if feeling lost is not a sign that something is wrong? What if it is the first step towards something greater? Consider the caterpillar. It does not simply grow wings and become a butterfly overnight. It must dissolve first. It must enter a cocoon, where its old form breaks down completely. It becomes unrecognizable before it transforms. Human transformation works the same way. The void is not the end. It is the space where the metamorphosis happens. But most people run from it. They try to fill the void with distractions, relationships that do not serve them, careers that do not fulfill them, external validation that never truly satisfies. They try to hold on to the old, refusing to surrender to the necessary dissolution that precedes rebirth. But those who are brave enough to sit in the void, to face the uncertainty, to allow themselves to not have all the answers, those are the ones who emerge changed. So if you feel lost, if you feel like everything you once believed about yourself is crumbling, take heart. You are not breaking down, you are breaking through. This is what Jung meant when he said, "Your visions will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakens." You are awakening. And awakening is not comfortable. It is not easy. It does not come with a map or a step-by-step guide, but it does come with a promise that on the other side of this transformation is something more real than anything you have ever known. So what now? How do you move forward when you no longer recognize who you were, but have not yet fully stepped into who you are becoming? First, embrace the uncertainty. Do not rush to fill the void. Let yourself explore. Let yourself question. Let yourself sit with the unknown without fear. Second, follow your intuition. When the old ways of living no longer resonate, listen to the quiet voice inside you, the one that knows what you need before your rational mind catches up. Third, surround yourself with truth. Seek out books, mentors, conversations that challenge you to think differently, to see yourself more clearly, to embrace your potential. And finally, have patience with yourself. The journey to self-realization is not a straight path. There will be moments of clarity and moments of doubt, moments of courage and moments of hesitation. But every step, even the uncertain ones, is leading you somewhere important. Jung once wrote, "We meet ourselves time and again in 1,000 disguises on the path of life." This means that every challenge, every struggle, every experience, no matter how difficult, is bringing you closer to your true self. So the next time you feel lost, remember, the path is not outside of you. It has never been. It has always been within. And when you stop searching for yourself in the world around you, when you finally turn inward and listen, you will find that you were never truly lost at all. You were simply on the way home. Thanks for looking.